My name is Dr. Mike Yeadon. I'm a former pharmaceutical company research executive, so a PhD, not a medic. You can find me on Substack and on Telegram. I'm heavily censored and you probably won't find me any other place than those. So I'm here to add my sincere warnings about digital ID. But before I do that, I'm going to tell a story which starts like all stories, once upon a time. Once upon a time, a long time ago, certainly several decades ago, possibly more than a century ago, very wealthy people, the sort of people who are so wealthy that they give their name to foundations and institutions, got together, I think probably in Britain and America, and decided they were going to put together a plan no matter how long it took to gain total control over every human being on the planet. And what have they done over the last decades and century? They've used lies, fear, and money, which they had aplenty, and have managed to persuade lots of humans of threats to them, which are not real, but are being used to herd us into the sheep pen, as it were. So I'll give you two examples. One is this crazy notion of human-induced climate change to levels of crises. It's completely fatuous and lies. The idea that a tiny number of us, tiny little microscopic dust on the surface of a huge Earth could warm the entire atmosphere is nonsense on stilts. I've read enough about this and listened to people with more experience in that field than I have in mine, and I'm absolutely confident that carbon dioxide and the amount we release has got absolutely nothing to do with temperature or climate. It's just a United Nations lie for the wealthy people to use as a stick to beat you, take away your food, your travel, your fuel, your cars. So that's one lie, and it's not a minor one. Coming closer to my home and expertise, the last 6 years has seen people lying to you about an alleged virus that came from a bat, that jumped to a human, that jumped from person to person and struck us down with flu. I have to tell you, that is all a fairy story for frightened children, which is what most of us are. That is not how influenza develops. It's not due to floating particles called viruses. It is not transmitted from person to person by contagion. And you definitely don't need to inject yourself with some unknown concoction with a needle called a vaccine. And I'm absolutely certain from all my 40 years in science that all of this story about pandemics, contagion and viruses and vaccines is an evil lie to get a lot of you to roll your sleeves up to be poisoned by materials that have been designed to be intentionally harmful. So I can't really think of anything more shocking than that realization. So having been lied to about pandemics and climate change, do you think for a moment that these ultra wealthy people working through our governments who are traitors, do you think they're telling you the truth? That you need a digital ID to what? Make sure that illegal people don't work or that undocumented migrants would be somehow stopped. Again, it's utter nonsense on stilts. Let me tell you, you can already identify yourself, if you need to any authority or business. Proof your entire life to this moment. You've got passports often you'll have a driving license, you may have other ways to identify yourself. You do not need a new ID. The controllers, the would-be controllers, need you to have a digital ID so that then they can take all your freedoms away. At the moment, you can buy things using cash if you want to, and even if you don't, there is that option, which means they can't block your transactions. But this new digital ID that will be biometric will be crucially, for the first time ever, updated in real time. And once installed, they will remove cash. Every government is talking about central bank digital currencies. Every government's talking about restricting your access to your own money as cash. Why are they doing that? Because of the reasons I've just explained. They want you to live and die as a QR code and updated in real time digital ID. So I say no to digital ID. I am not going to sign up for it, and I will not stop using cash. I use cash more now than I did 3 years ago. So no to the globalists, to your fear and coercion. Everything you've done so far has been propaganda. I'm not frightened of you, and nobody else should be frightened of you. They're completely powerless unless we bow our heads and, in a sense, consent to being imprisoned. And also to the police in the crowd. No to low-level enablers. No to obedient rule followers. You have been taking illegal orders for years under Operation Talor, where politicians, probably ordered by globalists, instructed your senior police officers, who in turn told you to ignore any potential crimes reported about vaccination or anything to do with COVID. You know, as formerly loyal officers, that what I've just said is an illegal act. And we have the receipts. We have the receipts. We've got the memos. We know the name of the operation. We know when it started. We know the effects of it. So any police here, if you think the globalists are going to allow you to keep the money you're being paid to oppress people like me, you've got another thing coming, because your time will come too. They will come for you as they will come for the rest of us. And then they'll steal all the money they gave you to incentivize you to break the law. So it's no to digital ID. And because I started once upon a time, I want to say I think we can still finish with a happy ever after. So join me in rejecting digital ID and standing as free human beings against the global tyrants. Thank you very much.